Hello and welcome to episode 68 of FPL Apprentice. Slowly closing in on 100 episodes. We'll be there soon enough, but still the only podcasting series that delves into the mind of one of the greatest players to ever play the game, former world number one and at FPL Tools World Tracker. It is, of course, Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, how are you?
I am very good, mate. I am very good. It was nice to see you yesterday.
Yeah, we did think about maybe taking some new photos, but lost track of time, mainly thanks to beer and cider.
Absolutely, absolutely. But was it? It was. How are we gonna? What was it? It was a bit of a fan meet and greet, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. There was loads of people
I
around
had
us.
to shout out the job.
They all knew our names. Probably far less of them knew that we did FPL, but we'll take it as a meet and greet. A few signatures and so on. But yeah, good to see you. Not often that we're in the same city at the same time, so good to do it.
No, absolutely. I think we. It was like went our separate ways. I mean, probably what 10 minutes before the Liverpool Villa game. So
Yeah,
yeah, our FPL fates for game week 25 were radically different from when we saw each
yeah,
other to now. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy and smug.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself was fine. I mean, we'll come on to our teams in a second. But in terms of FPL wise, I was okay with it. I didn't have an assistant manager chip playing, so regardless of which way it went, it was always going to hurt my rank. In the real football world, bit of a frustrating one. But the less said about that, the better. We're not here to discuss Liverpool Football Club and my association with it. We're here to discuss FPL. So let's do just that. We will start as we've just started to bring in what we're going to talk about today. So game week 25 review. Feels like it's been a while, mate, since we've really gone through our teams, where we're at, how we've been performing. So
I
it'd be
feel
good
like
to do
it's
that.
been like 3 weeks, isn't it, with just the
Yeah.
double game weeks and whatnot, and like game weeks being still active and whatnot, and the quick turnaround. So yeah, I think it's probably been a couple of weeks, which is probably good because we haven't really spoken out our ranks for a couple of weeks as well. So like it's hit that embarrassment.
Feels exactly that. Like we just hide it. If we ever go to below a million again, we'll just ignore that part altogether.
Yep.
But because we are now only a few weeks out from a blank game week 29, have a little
Hmm.
discussion around planning for that.
Yep.
And then yeah, game week 26 captain, team reveals, and then finish as we always do with a mini league update and Matt versus Dave. But game week 25, firstly, can I just apologise, Matt, because the way I do the screenshots on this makes this very small. I just can't do it from the phone. I will work away at getting it larger. Hopefully, you can see your team, and feel free, as somebody in the Century Club this week, feel free to start.
Hey, I am just going to bring up my phone because
Good
I
idea.
cannot not see
Probably, a,
it at all.
probably a good idea.
But yeah, Century Club, which I think might be the first time this year for me. I'm not going to fact check that. We'll run with it. But yeah, 104 points, 750k game week rank. So yeah, that's kind of really solid, right? Because these days, anything sub 1.5 mil is excellent. And yeah, big green arrow linked to it. So yeah, kind of like what have I got? 170k green arrow up to 640k. So yeah, a good week all round. But like yeah, really right up until yesterday, it was looking like a really poor game week. So yeah, kind of like I'll talk about some observation around assistant manager and kind of like and whatnot there. But coming into this game week, just kind of replaying, I had three free transfers. I decided to target double game week, so I brought in Watkins for Isaac, I brought in Rogers for Sa, and I brought in Emery for Moyes. Right, so yeah, it was like idea of targeting Villa, and I have three Liverpool players as well. I think I could have been more cautious, or I could have like skipped some like Rogers and brought in Dango. So yeah, overall, I'm kind of up with those moves, of course, which is good. So that kind of logic of like targeting double game weeks is a sound logic. Is yeah, kind of is still there. Yeah, I talk about I mean, I'm not going to go through like my kind of whole team. I'll talk about the kind of double game week kind of like players and kind of what happened there. So Canate, yeah, despite playing he kind of came off half time, so he's got 1 point.
Did Fucking
games. He got the full 90 against Villa, but yeah, can like obviously goals conceded just 1 point. Trent got his goal, which is cool, so a solid 13. Rogers got 4. And I feel a little bit. Rogers was always like the last move I was going to make, right? It felt a little bit luxury, right? And my other alternative was going to be Dango, who of course scored, right, and is a better option moving forward. I think it was somewhat hard done by, right? I think that over the two, he didn't do anything against Liverpool, and let's be honest, I think Villa were quite lucky against Liverpool to get 2-2. But yeah, they were very good against Ipswich, as you would expect against 10 men. And like, yeah, Rogers, he should have got at least one attacking return against Ipswich. So I think, yeah, his underlying stats were really good, which is somewhat unusual for Rogers. Like, he hasn't been a stats king, right, for within the Premier League this year, but he should have got an attacking return against Ipswich. So I think, yeah, I'm going to put that down as right logic, make the right decision, like, and yeah, just the kind of wrong outcome there. Obviously, again, Watkins versus Isak was a bit of a roll of the dice, particularly with like fitness, but obviously, yeah, Watkins got attacking returns in both fixtures, so super happy with that. And then let's talk about Emery. So like, of course, Salah everyone's got and everyone's captain him, right? So like, not really any point really talking about it. But yeah, Emery ended up with 14 points. But at half time in the double game week, right? So post the Ipswich game, I thought it was almost like a season ending moment for me, right? Given the assistant manager is quite a powerful chip if paid kind of played correctly. And obviously Villa Ipswich is 1-1. I mean, if you're looking at the underlying stats, a 2-0 win is what would have been fair, if not a little bit more 3-0 win. But like, yeah, to come out of that fixture, what I was thinking is the nailed on win, right? With no clean sheet, only 1 goal scored, and of course a draw. So 4 points versus what I thought would be like more near a 10. I was like, oh, this is going to be an absolute disaster, right? But of course, like, yeah, kind of luck gives, but luck sometimes does balance itself out. So he was unlucky against Ipswich, but Villa were pretty lucky against Liverpool, right? They didn't deserve a 2-2, but yeah, obviously 2 goals. The points of the draw, and then that managed table bonus is massive, especially because it's draws you get it as well, right? So when you hit those, it makes hell of a difference, right? So I'm kind of like super happy with that Emery kind of return, which has kind of really driven those positive numbers. And I think, yeah, there's a learn there. I think like we were with it being a new chip, we were like speculating the best approach. I think both of us said, hey, targeting those managers with table bonus opportunities was the tactic we were going to take, and I think that's what's coming through now. Especially so, like, you know, a draw or a win to get 5 extra points is pretty massive, right? So I think I'm going to keep. Yeah, we'll talk about plans for game week 26 coming forward. But like, yeah, I'm considering moving Emery to another team and assistant manager who's got a chance for table bonus. I think it's kind of, it's one way I think you can roll the dice for that kind of upside. And again, that geeky term, it's almost like a free risk opportunity if you're in lower ranks. Other observations. Yeah, João Pedro, like what a nightmare. So I think yeah, you were saying earlier, like, well, the key player for Brighton. I think you were right. I was taking the piss out of you when you were saying it, but like, he is the main man for
2 assists.
Brighton. So like, I've got this kind of structural problem now where I've got Stewart, who's injured, who's permanently benched, and I've got João Pedro, who I need to start every week. And he's now a huge minutes risk. I'll talk about him more coming up, but obviously then it's like Southampton is the upcoming game. But like, yeah, that's the main issue. And I think, yeah, another issue that I've got is Bruno Fernandes, right? I think Man United's team is gutted, right? So it's a poor team anyway. It's now gutted, and like Fernandes just is playing deeper and deeper and deeper because of all of these injuries, and like he's their only good player, right? So he's a expensive liability at the moment. João Pedro again is a problem. So I've got, and neither both of them blanked, right? So it's I've got some structural issues, but like yeah, got a little bit of luck with Emery against Liverpool. So yeah, that changed from what was looking a shocking week to a pretty positive one. And now
Yeah,
Yeah,
good green.
I feel a bit more open for hits coming up. Looking at the blank 28 and some of the structure issues, I'm a bit more open for hips because I'll just kind of say, hey, some of the luck I got this week with Emery, I'll just like
Yeah,
sacrifice that into
pays for the
a
future.
-4 down the line. So 104, happy boy. I was like, yeah, super annoyed at the weekend, but yeah, like it changed around like
Oh, I bet.
Liverpool Villa. So yeah, looking good. I'll ask you, mate. Obviously, we'll go through
Yeah.
your team in a second, and obviously it's difficult to say it's a good or bad week, right? Because you didn't have a chip played, and chips were pretty active. What have you learned, and what are you feeling about assistant manager now? We've seen a couple of weeks of it.
It's just mental how many points it actually gives. Like whether it was on double, especially in double game weeks, right? So Emery, what's that? 14 points for him. I think Slot got 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I'm on like now. I'm on like 22 for Moyes, didn't I? And now I've got Emery. So what's that? 30,
it's like 36, 36
36
points.
points. And yeah, Moyes was 0 point, and they're not teams that you would triple up on, and they're like
Yeah,
0.8 and 0.5 million, right? I think yeah, Slot is a bit of a different matter, right? He hasn't been getting that upside for the table bonus. Plus, he costs a little bit more. Plus,
yeah.
people could have had 3 Liverpool players anyway. But like, yeah, I think it's been a crazy amount of points there. But like, yeah, what like obviously you haven't used it. What have you learned, and what beyond like, hey, can give lots of points in double game weeks? What are you thinking now in terms of the approach you may take?
For the assistant manager, so yeah, it sounds obvious, right? But the more games, the better. So people have
Yeah.
played it now because they'll get 5 games in three game weeks from their assistant manager. So I need to do something similar. What I need to hope is Newcastle go well in the FA Cup because then they'll play twice in 32 and 33. So
Mm.
likelihood is I'll just give it to Eddie Howe in game week 31. He'll have it in for the single game week, then he'll have it for back-to-back doubles. That's what I need to hope. And then for game week 34, when the blank happens, that'll probably force my hand to do a free hit there. And then bench boost in 36 if that's when the next double is. And I'll work my wild card around that somewhere, probably
Cool.
35.
But
But that's kind of that's where it's kind of forcing me. I need to just hope
ask
the
man,
tune do well.
ask man for you is less so table bonus and stuff like that. It's more like, hey, kind of get someone in and just target lots of fixtures.
Exactly that.
It's,
Exactly
yeah,
that. And
it's kind of like yeah, it's kind of like solid approach, and it's like it sounds obvious, but yeah, this is a person who's guaranteed to play 180 minutes over if you have a double game week, right? There's no faffing about with injuries and stuff like that. That guarantees
yeah,
to play. Like you said, yeah, fixture like having lots of fixtures helps a lot. Agree.
as we saw, even if they get sent off, they don't get any minus points. So they crack on,
Yeah,
Feel free to get carded all you want, Eddie Howe, if that's where it's going to. But yeah, I did have that in my head. I was thinking, rarely go for it when United in 3 game weeks in a row play teams more than 5 places above them. But now I'm like, nah, sack that. I'll just take the 5 fixtures with Eddie Howe if that's the way it
yeah.
falls.
So
So I have to keep my eye on it.
fixtures, yeah, number of fixtures is most important. Like, get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if you weren't having that double double, would you be like, hey, you're quite attracted by the table bonus piece, or do you not really care?
I would have been.
Yeah,
Honestly, until that double was announced, it was going on. It was going on.
one
Amaron
of the shitters. Yeah, yeah, one of those kind of shit teams. Yeah, no,
purely.
definitely. I think it's just the draw. Like, I think if you're looking at some of the odds of table bonus and you're doing bookies odds, right? For some of these teams to win or draw is about 60% odds, right? And they're not the favourites, but yeah, the 5 point bonus for that draw as well makes hell of a difference, right? And I think you've got to roll the dice.
Yeah,
And if you look at the big winners thus far, like I'm just going to bring it up on the FPL app in
Brighton,
terms of like
Brighton
total
manager
points.
this week.
It's like Moyes is top. Slot, of course, but he's more expensive, more difficult. Silver without any double game weeks because he's beaten teams above him, like Fulham have.
Yeah,
36 points without a double. Arteta's there. But yeah, you got some of these weaker, cheaper teams kind of right up there. So I think it's
yeah.
quite powerful. It's quite powerful.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how many transfers I've got. Game week 31 in the single could be a chance where I'll look at it and go, you know what, I'll give it a little punt on somebody a little bit further down the
Yeah,
table. But 32, 33, I'll just play the fixtures, play the doubles, give it to Eddie Howe, see how we come out of it. But it does put me in a weird position for this week. Last week, I kind of balanced out because I had the triple captain, right? So I had a chip. Whereas this week, I'm expecting a red because I haven't got a chip, and most of the active players do. And next week's the same. If I can come out of next week still in the top 200,000, and I've got assistant manager, and a lot of the active community don't,
Agree.
I'll be okay.
Agree. I think it's the time to keep calm. I think overall, hindsight will say that like your approach is probably more optimal now, and you'll probably get more points given the huge, right? And you've got that route with how with like just a shed ton of fixtures without having need to jump between it. So I think the way it's played out, it's probably still in your favour, but we won't see that until game week 35 or something like that.
That's
so
it.
Yeah, I think
That's it. Need to wait.
Time to keep calm, and ranks the moment a bit artificial. Anyway, mate. So I know you created your nice agenda in it, and I've gone off piece.
I know this is what it's all about.
What were your moves? Happy with them in hindsight? What did you do?
So there's good and bad, right? Good and bad. So good, I'd move Bruno out. He, as you said before, he just takes up a lot of budget. I moved him out to Otara, or Dango as we call him on here. Instant dividends, 7 points for him. Bruno with 2. I'm much happier having Otara, especially given Bournemouth's fixtures. So that was a nice move straight away. It was always between him, Kluivert, and Semenyo, and Otara got the most points. So worked out for me quite nicely. Trent was great
as well. I think Kluivert got returns, but was like super lucky.
Yeah. And I kind of want 2 of them if I'm honest. I'll touch on that when I come to my game week 26 plans. But Trent clean sheet. As soon as he was subbed off, Wolves scored. So Trent kept the clean sheet. So that was quite nice to see.
Yeah.
And then scored a deflected goal. So 13 points, quite lucky, but I'll take them all day long.
Yeah, Anthony Robinson style game week.
Yeah. Honestly, it was just like, how are you getting 13 points? And then Salah captain. Now the downside to Salah captain, or the good side is I don't lose ground, but the downside is his effective ownership's 204%. So clearly there's some triple captainers on him for this game week. Did very well, so it didn't really mean anything. The bad, you've touched on Rodgers already, mate. Expected goal involvement this game week 1.04, returns nothing. I was texting you ahead of the deadline last Friday. There was and Aaron. I could have moved the lap out, and I could have brought Watkins in. I've ended up benching the lap over Sarr. I was always going to do that. So the Delap benching doesn't hurt. But if I'd have bought Watkins in, obviously I'd have played him over Sarr. That would have been 9 points different.
Was that for a hit?
It was free. It was for a 3-second transfer.
I remember you texted. I didn't respond, but after the deadline saying, "Do you make that move? That's great." And you're like, "No." And I was like, "Oh well." That was a great move. So obviously you're doing it in hindsight. Why on earth did you not get rid of?
So in my head, I'm like, if I bring Watkins in, it's a transfer, so there's 4 points gone. If you balance it out that way, I'd then need to move him out anyway. I'd need to sell him by game week 29. There's another transfer used. That's 8 points gone. So in my head, I'm thinking he needs to. I'm not using my free hit in 29. This has set me in motion. I'm not free hitting. So in my head, I'm like, well, he needs to get 8 points to match Sarr.
I'm not buying that.
Say that again. I'm going to use 2 transfers, one to get him in, one to get him out. There's 8 points. Sarr's going to get me 2, so I need Watkins to get 10 points to make it worth my while. That's what I've got in my head. So he needs 2 returns. He got them, granted, but that was where my logic came from. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong.
I think it's a bit overthinking that.
Could be, but that's where it came from.
Sometimes you've got a plan, but I think sometimes what's it, opportunity cost net, and we could probably do a economic analysis where there's a table here, but obviously your priority's got to be the week in front of you, right? That's got to be more important and more valuable compared to a game week 4 or 5 weeks down the line, right? But that's what we got to be kind of bear in mind. It's not like binary where hey, 4 points lost through a transfer now isn't worth 4 points down the line, right? It's all the points that you could gain or lose between there.
I get that, and it was purely because I don't want him in game week 29. That's why I didn't get him in this week.
Get the logic in it. Get the logic. Obviously, we can say if he blanked, you're looking like a genius, but
15 points was quite nice.
I think the writing is there as well, right? He's been very good the last, like when he's played the last 5 weeks. I think he had all the charts around expected
Yeah,
goal involvement and whatnot, and he was looking pretty
absolutely.
good, right? And I think all the writing was on the wall around Sarr as well, being
Rubbish. He's
being
going. I'll tell you now. He's on his
being the
way out,
horse.
sir. He's on his
Um,
way out. But yeah, the
but
Watkins hurt. Watkins hurt me. Wood also hurt me. Standard
yeah,
Chris Wood, expected goal.
the guys are just on the kind of weird, luckiest run I've ever seen in my life. If Morgan, what if Morgan Rogers was Chris Wood, obviously, yeah, if my auntie is my uncle, all that kind of stuff. But if Morgan Rogers was Chris Wood, he would have scored 4 goals this game.
Honestly, 0.14 expected goals for Chris Wood. He gets a goal, 3 bonus. In a game he loses, so that hurts because of how high owned he is. And then the other one that hurts, I was out with my mate for a birthday. I saw Wissa goal, Brentford. I was like, get in! I've fought him in, happy days. And then it got disallowed, rightly so, by the way. But felt the
He was quite unlucky
celebration
on that as well.
taken
I think
away.
Vissa was unlucky outside the disallowed goal to not get a return there. So again, I think with Vissa, he's kind of like just a bit streaky, right? But he's getting in areas and whatnot, so it's not a concern. But I think personally, if you had an option to get Watkins there without a hit, to permanently get rid of Sarr, who is blanking in game week 29 as well.
He is. That's why he's going.
You bench it. Yeah, you're not getting rid of Sarr. You kind of like you bench it. That point's irrelevant. But I reckon that's a bit of a shocker, mate. If that was available.
Well, it was available and it was for free. But yeah, maybe too much future planning. Maybe that's what's happened there.
Exactly. Hindsight, though. Hindsight. Like I'm kind of here gloating as a Watkins owner.
As a Watkins owner, what are you selling him?
The lap ain't doing you any favors having him because he's not good enough for you to start for your team you'd be rotating him with Sarr, Rogers, and Lap. I'm guessing like a rotation for one of your last attackers, but he doesn't really help from a cost structure point of view, does he? Like,
no, he'll be Sarr. I know he plays in game week 29, but he's got Forest, who I'd expect to keep a clean sheet against Ipswich. So he's probably on the chopping block as well. But yeah,
and you had a perfect time to get rid of him for like the second best double game week asset after Salah when we're looking at expected points.
Don't rub it in, lads. Don't rub it in. I know it's a mistake. We don't have to keep going on about it.
I need these little things where like you're doing like so much better than me, so I can't let
you know what rarely hurts. If I'd have bought him in, I'd have ended up on what 90, 97. My safety score was 95, so I'd have got a green arrow without playing a chip. That would have felt quite nice. That would have felt like a real victory. Yeah, that would have felt pretty good. But anyway, we'll move on. But just SARS going, I'm telling you. But yeah, game week 20. So what I've been doing all this time, Matt, and it's going to work out eventually, is planning for game week 29. So the reason we're doing that now is because there's only game week 26, 27, 28, 29. It's only 4 game weeks away.
Yep.
Teams, just as a reminder, that don't play: Liverpool, Palace, Newcastle, and Villa. There you go.
Yep.
No, they forgot one. And a lot of people, because of this double game week, have a lot of Liverpool players. They have a lot of Villa players. They could have a lot of Newcastle that have still got your Halls and your Gordons and your Isaacs. Yep. Maybe a little bit less with the 4th team, who I've just said and forgot again. But the point is, there's moves to be made to make sure you're either in a good position for game week 29 if you not planning to free hit.
Yep.
And I saw something that I thought might be... Go on, mate. You were about to say something.
Looking at 29 in isolation, mate. I mean, I'm guessing like the conclusion on who the teams to target. Are you going to do a free hit or not? Like, I think when you're looking at game week 29 in isolation, who are the 2 or 3 teams you would be targeting?
So that could be worth bringing this one up.
I mean, I should probably let you lead the conversation.
No. So this is no, not at all. This is probably what that wasn't going to be a question I was going to ask. So it's probably worth showing
what I'd be targeting, right? Is I don't think anyone's got an amazing set of fixtures, right? Like 6.5 is like main captaincy option in Haaland here. That's not great, right? So I don't think it looks like it's not screaming out as a, oh shit,
Definite must. Yeah,
Man City are playing Southampton at home or something like that, or Arsenal are playing Ipswich at home, and I just need to load up on players. There's lots of like quite mid games, right? So I think you can be quite relaxed. But I think if you were free hitting, you'd be targeting Forest, right? Because they play Ipswich
I
away.
agree.
You'd be targeting a couple of Wolves players.
I
Yeah,
agree with that one, especially.
particularly Cunha, who I think is Cunha is a valid captain option for a lot of people for sure. That's it.
Bournemouth,
Really, and
maybe.
then you have a mixture of other players, right? Everyone else has got like yeah. There's not like kind of like surefire. You'd have a couple of Arsenal players, maybe, right? Like, but it's not those teams you pick it like Man City. You'd have Man City, Forest, or Wolves would be the structure of your team, right?
I would
I
back
think if you
Bournemouth.
look, well, Bournemouth
Bournemouth
and
are home to
Brentford.
Brentford.
I don't think I don't think would blow them away. I reckon that could be quite an even match, right?
Just that Brentford away form, mate. Cuts me
mm,
right off them
I mean,
in any away game.
I think sometimes it's like the sample size ain't big enough, right? I'm speculating, but maybe their away games have been against some of the toughest teams recently. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, like you look at that as two ways. It's like none of those teams are blowing me away, right? So do I even free it? Another thing is like some of those players would be very difficult to get to for free transfers, right? The Man City team, their players will be very difficult to get to, right? So if you're desperate for them, it's like free hit becomes more appealing. And like I mean, structurally getting to 3 Forest is quite difficult, right? And some of these teams don't have very good fixtures in and around. Like they don't have that good game weeks in 28, game week 30 as well, right? So I think you got to play all these things whether like it makes sense. I think looking at stuff, it's not screaming out that I need to be using my free hit at the moment. But yeah, I think it's just useful to think of like the teams you would target in isolation, right? Like so Man City, and Forest.
I agree. I don't think it's worth free hitting. Especially if you can get to it. You told me last season, mate, if you in a blank game week, if you can get to sort of 9, 10 players, that can be enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's kind of like every kind of situation, kind of like it's got its own variables there. But yeah, I think like if you've got 9, 10 players, you can probably feel relatively confident. And yeah, it's just like what teams are you losing in game week 28, and then also you would want back in game week 30 as well. Potentially, I think Liverpool particularly have great games in game week 28 and game week 30, right? So the free hit kind of means that it's easier to keep those guys in. I think Villa is an easier to lose. I don't think they have great games in game week 28 nor 30, so they're easier to lose. Like so, there's lots of variables there. But I think yeah, this is interesting here. Just looking at projected points, obviously this is quite far out, but like are there any like game changing numbers there that are like, oh my gosh, no.
I must
Any of
have.
those teams that you'd be targeting on a free hit, are they blowing you away as an amazing team and also with an amazing fixture? Probably not.
Yeah, no. But and this is where I'm looking at the games around game week 29, right? And there's not many teams at all that have a good run now that you might want to bring in straight away in game weeks between 26 and 28. And then I've done 29 to 31 because I imagine people start to play their second wild card not far after 31, if not within that window. And the only teams went out on both are Bournemouth, Leicester, and Spurs. Now, let's be honest, you're not bringing in any Leicester players. It's just not going to happen.
No, I mean, Wolves are on both, right?
Well, Wolves on both. No, they're not. So they're not now. So their fixtures turn in game week 28 when they play Everton, who are actually doing pretty well under Moyes, but they play Everton in 28, Southampton 29, West Ham in 30, and then Ipswich in 31. So I think they're really good from 28, but their next two, not so much.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, you pointed out like one of the obvious teams here. Like, if you're planning around this is kind of Bournemouth, of course. We've hinted at another player. Cunha is an obvious one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they swing to the top of the fixture list, Wolves, after from 29 onwards. So he seems
he's
like
I mean, that Southampton
a
one's
really
is
good
fine.
player.
So like, yeah, it's Cunha, and then like maybe if you want someone else as a filler, that's not a bad shout, especially because they got West Ham in game week 30. So yeah, Cunha's going to be a no-brainer. Loaded
Yeah.
Bournemouth is going to be a no-brainer. Everyone else like is fine, right? It's like
Would you
not
be
really anywhere.
would you consider, if you can't get to Haaland? Really, if you could, you might want to spend the money. Would you consider Cunha captain away at Southampton that game week?
Oh, easy, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
I'd consider Wood and Cunha for sure.
Yeah. And then do you think 2 or 3 Bournemouth, or is one enough?
Well, looking at this, but
Mm.
3 is fine.
Yeah, just looking at that game week before: Wolves, Brighton, Tottenham, and then from 29, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham.
Yeah, it's a really nice run. So yeah, get as many as you can.
Well, I'm going to show you something when it comes to my team reveal. That could be quite interesting here. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I'll show you it. And then, out of interest, would you pick any Spurs at all? So from 29, it's Ipswich, Man City, Bournemouth, followed by Fulham, Chelsea, Southampton. Would you touch them?
No,
Yeah, stay away. Stay away. I agree, but yeah, the big hitters seem to be Haaland, Wood, Saka if he's back, Cunha, and then one of the Bournemouth guys finishing up the top 5 in Clivert. Probably because he's on the pins, right? Oh
yeah,
yeah, so from the sounds of it, mate, in your head, Cunha's your top target for this game, probably for game week 29.
yeah. I think Cunha is quite easy and accessible. I think Wood.
Yeah.
The Forest guys probably worry me a little bit more. I think because they don't have great fixtures after or before, do they? And
Let me double check for you. They're not on any fixture ticket, so I assume those.
they're running just very hot, right? Which is I'm always been nervous when there's teams just running hot, right? They're getting lucky. But yeah, I think yeah, I'd like just the lack of striker options. I'd like to try
Yeah.
and get kind of Wood in as well. But yeah, Acuna
Well,
for me feels like a no-brainer. I would like Wood. Um,
yeah.
and yeah,
Well, there we go.
that covers some nice captaincy options. I would have said Bruno Fernandes as a captaincy option against Leicester away, but like obviously he's playing deeper and deeper, and his team is just
Yeah.
like very poor. So I think he becomes less important and also potentially a bit of a cash cow for me as well.
Yeah. Well, here we go. So
Um,
Chris Wood prior to 29. Newcastle away, then Arsenal and Man City.
No,
Probably not getting him
exactly.
in.
That's like an interesting where free hit becomes more interesting. It's like, okay, I want to really go hard on Forest for that single week, but I don't want to mess around with those really tough fixtures, right? That's like a
Yeah.
really good example there. If you go back, mate, to the previous page,
Yeah.
um, so assuming like a lot of people may wildcard game week 30 and 31, obviously it's fairly far away. Would you get rid of Liverpool players in 29 because they cost a lot? They don't have a game. Obviously, they got Southampton in game week 28 at home, so you're not getting rid of them there. They then have Everton at home, Fulham away, and then
30.
West Ham. Would you be game week 29 getting rid of Salah to fund Haaland, for example, and just like funding wholesale changes of your team, and then you maybe then wildcard in 30 or 31? What do you think? Would you be willing to go out without like a Salah for Everton home?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
And no one, I'm not going to sell him. I'm benched him. I'm doing the same with Isaac, by the way. It's all to do with the amount of money I've got in them. So I can sell Salah for 13.4, but he's going to cost me 13.7 to get him back. It's
got
just,
it.
and I'm forcing transfers that I don't need to. So he's going to get benched for that reason. Isaac, very similar. He has got a double game week in 32 coming up, a potential double game week in 33 after game week 29 when he blanks. He's got Brentford and Leicester. Brentford at home, by the way, at St James's. So again, I don't want to sell him. But I
No,
can
yeah.
sell him for 9 million, and he's 9.5 to buy back. It's just wasting money out my team. So
Yeah,
personally, I'm going to bench.
points. I get it. Points trump money, of course, and I
Yeah,
think there's some super nice cheap players like around. But like, yeah, you need some funds to pay for Hal as well, right? What's he
yeah,
1.2, 1.3 or something like that? I'd imagine. But yeah, Sorry again, mate. I've probably taken your very nice structured story here.
No, not at all. Not at
What
all.
we're, what we're
It's a good
concluding is
question.
now's a good time to think of free hit or not. I mean, both of us are
Yeah.
thinking trending towards not. Although I think it is a valid strategy. If you want to go hard on Man City, hard on Forest, free hit is kind of a really cool option. I think we're like thinking of navigating it without it. We're saying interesting teams and players, Bournemouth, of course.
Yeah.
And then
Wolves
Wolves.
closer to the time. And
Yeah.
out of interest, obviously, this might not happen, but blank game week 34, if that's when it is, expected to be probably a much bigger blank game week. Is that in your mind when you're thinking you're not going to play your free hit in 29?
Yeah.
See what, just in case,
And,
see what that looks
and
like.
and I think, I mean, like, yeah, we've learned not to trust some of these predictions, like because they're radically out every year. But we do know when there's a double in the 30s, that it's normally linked with the blank, right? Because it's determined by FA
Yeah,
Cup
absolutely.
semi-finals, right? So the teams doubling and then the ones that are blanking like shortly after,
Yeah.
or kind of vice versa. Exactly what we're seeing now, game week 25 to game week 29. Obviously, the teams blanking 29, the League Cup finalists, right? And
Yeah,
they were like,
absolutely.
the Villa double, kind of Villa and kind of Liverpool were double now on it. So yeah, I think I'm thinking 34 is when I will
Yeah.
play that free
Probably
hit.
where I'm going to end up. Probably where I'm going to end. But yeah, Bournemouth, Wolves, and that's it. There you go. That's where we're at. So,
Yeah. How,
Captain me. Go on, sorry.
going
Bring it back.
back a second, mate. Just to round off your 29 discussion, how many blankers do you have at the moment, and how many transfers have you got?
So I've got 6 players that blank presently, and
Yep.
between now and game week 29, I'll be able to do 5 transfers. So I'm in a
Easy then.
nice place.
Easy.
I can do it easy. I can do
Yeah.
it easy.
So it's a valid strategy for you. And I think you've got some of the good players covered. You've got Dango in there. You've got
This is why I didn't do Watkins, because if I bought Watkins in, I planned this out and I was like, well, if I bring Watkins in, I'll have 4 transfers, but I'll have 7 players that blank. And that was really, in hindsight, obviously he's got the points. I could have took a hit, right? But that was
I
why I
think
did it.
I get it. It was probably like conservative play, but I get it. I think me on the other hand, mate, I've got Stewart, who doesn't play, so he's blank. I've got Konate, Salah, Trent, Rogers, Watkins. So that's 6. Plus I've got João Pedro, who kind of may or may not play. Let's ignore him for the time being. So I've got 6, and I have how many transfers between now and then?
You'll have 4, but you're doing a manager transfer this week, so it'll really be 3.
Ah, I may not, right? But yeah, I've got
Yeah.
4 transfers, so
Yeah.
I could put out an 11, but it's just, is it a good 11, right? I'd want to be keeping Salah and Trent because of money vested in them, and I want them for game week 30, for example. The players that Watkins is a bit of a cash cow, get it? So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Easy move to Wood, interestingly.
Or kind of Cunha, like
Or
it should
Cunha.
be like
Yeah.
even a kind of better and more efficient swap. So yeah, kind of there's a bit of money in kind of Watkins, who I want to be getting rid of, but then Stewart, there's no money there. João Pedro, there's no money there. Rogers, there's no money there. So it's quite tight, right? So I may have to sacrifice a Fernandez to kind of free up a little bit of money. So I've got to play around with it, but I think I can get to 9 or 10 pretty decent players, or take a hit and have a kind of full squad. So I'm not necessarily going to just be like purely thinking about 29 now.
Yeah.
I'll be look at my system manager, like you said. But yeah, for you, very clear cut. I think for me, probably a little bit more of a chance of a free hit, but not quite enough.
Yeah. And then we have to hope, obviously, injuries don't come into play. Because
Yeah,
that could really scupper it.
spot on. Yeah, that could kind of change things pretty radically, of course. Yeah, if I didn't bring in Rogers, then it would have been like, and I had Dango, I'd been of course better off, but a transfer better off, and yeah, really well set up for 29. Less so now, but I think it's manageable.
Absolutely. Just hope the luck comes with them, with the injuries and future transfers.
I
Game week 26 captain, mate. For the last couple of weeks, we have touched on captains, and it's basically been get it off the screen because it's Mo Salah and it's only Mo Salah. And he's still top, right? Expected point 6.4. It's less than he has been. Granted, he's been getting double game weeks, but he's away at Man City. Now, Man City's expected goal conceded in the last 4 games per 90 is only 0.97. The defense has become much stronger. When they conceded 5 at Arsenal, mate, right? They had expected goal conceded of 1.0.
Yeah, no,
And they
they were
conceded
unlucky.
5.
Yeah.
It was mental. And I think now that they've been beat by Real Madrid, they're out of the Champions League. Haaland and KDB sat on the bench the entire game. I think City would be rarely up for this Liverpool game. It's putting me off going for Salah, if I'm honest. What are your thoughts?
Who are you going for?
Well, it might still be Salah, if I'm honest with you. But Wolves expected goals. It conceded per 90, 1.56. Could be a chance to go for an Otara, Dango, or if I bring in Kluivert, could go for him. Wissa, not a terrible option. 3rd on this list, playing Leicester. Much
You're
worse defence
thinking
than City.
Captain and Kluivert or Dango for Salah. That's what you got. I mean,
building the discussion. But that'd be, if I'm honest, that'd be the
I'm
one.
going Salah. I think if like Saka was fit or something like that, that would be a genuine debate. I don't think any of these guys can be trusted enough. And I think with like the likes of Mbumo and Viz, it's kind of more like they are away. That's putting me off a little bit. I think it was like if it was Leicester at home, then they would be pretty appealing, right? But yeah, I think he's just been so efficient, Salah, with his play, right? So I'm going to go with him.
Well,
I'm pretty sure you will as well. You're teasing it. You're
yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'll end up on him. But something that's pretty disgusting. Dango, man.
How can you say that with a straight face?
Just for content.
I know.
Salah, 26 games in, 271 points.
No,
10 points a game. Unbelievable.
Exactly. And like, I mean, he's playing awesome. He's getting some luck some weeks, obviously. Yeah. You got that for the triple captain. I'm guessing, yeah, this is a content forcing a debate in
it. So, 26 games, returned in 22 of them.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be Salah again. Let's move on to game week 26 team reveals.
Dango.
Kind of been teasing it, but bring up yours first, mate. 1 free transfer in play.
Oh yeah.
What are you looking to do?
So, I've got loads of options. Like, there's nothing that kind of like screams out. First of all, I don't really like my team at the moment. Right, there's a few problems structurally. Where, like I said up front, João Pedro, I need to play him every week, and like he's now benched. Fernandez playing super deep, costing loads. Stewart as a permanent bench player. Yeah, I don't love it. So like players that I'm thinking about that I would like. You spoke about Cunha. I'd love to get Cunha. I think it's hard to get for me to fit Cunha in at the moment for João Pedro, or I could get him for Watkins, right? But I think that's probably a bit wasteful. I've got a 0.8 in Emery, right? So once I get rid of my assistant manager, that releases a lot of cash. So I think Cunha is one for next week. Unless I'm like, I just need to get rid of João Pedro. I think you've got to give him Southampton away.
Yeah. And just hope he starts.
Or gets minutes and a goal. I think you just got to give that chance, I think, right? I know it's not ideal, but like if I could move João Pedro to Cunha, I'd do it, but I need to free up money to enable that, right? And quite a bit. So I don't think it's worth 2 moves this week. So I think I have to keep João Pedro, despite me finding him pretty annoying. To a lesser extent, I feel Fernandez as well. Like it's probably just got to keep him for the time being. Everton away isn't the worst fixture. So yeah, I probably got to keep him. No, yeah, I got 1 free transfer. We spoke about game week 29 and plan for that. I could just kind of roll in preparation for that. I do want to look at a few things. Emery is against Chelsea at home with no table bonus. Oh, that's a tough game. I wouldn't be able to call who would win that. I'd say 50-50. I want a little bit more than that. I want either a more sure game that I think Villa would win, or I'd want table bonus. He's got neither of those, right? So I reckon Well, does it sound? Yeah, I'm eyeing Emery to a table bonus manager. I think there's a few interesting options here. Leicester are interesting. Ipswich are interesting. I think Palace are interesting as well. They're all table bonus managers, right? So I think there's some nice options there. So Leicester at home under the lights, which I think does is cheesy in it, but does make a difference against Brentford.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said that they're not great away, right? Then we've got Palace away at Fulham. I think is tough. Fulham a good unit, right? Obviously, Palace are a
Yeah.
better team than like Leicester, but I think that's a tough one. And Ipswich are home to Spurs, who are
No way.
leaky, got all these injuries and
Huh?
whatnot. But like, yeah, Spurs are a good unit. So I think, yeah, I think Palace is probably the one I'm trending away from just because it's an away game, and then Fulham, I think, is just like very, very solid. Leicester home to Brentford is appealing. Ipswich home to Spurs is appealing. Some people may say, "Hey, that's wild. Why would you do that?" But yeah, there's an upside there. I think there's a bit of risk that you can take and hopefully get some nice returns. Emery's just yeah, like it's not screaming out a win, is it? Home to Chelsea. That's screaming out 1-1.
Yeah, and Ipswich won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah,
It's doable.
Ipswich are a good unit, and they're at home, which I think makes a difference. So like, yeah, I like Leicester. I like Ipswich really. So I think yeah, I'm thinking of moving Emery, and then is a choice of do I make other moves as well? Like thinking about moving ahead in the coming weeks, correcting a mistake I didn't do last week, which is Dango. Get him in for Rogers. I could just do that. Rogers is blanking. I don't like Villa's fixture run. Rogers outside of random games got really poor underlying stats. I got him for a reason. It was 2 fixtures, right? And like he probably should have
Yeah.
got a return, but whatever. I'll kind of move on for that. Just correct that mistake and get kind of Dango in. That's an option. I could do just Rogers to Dango and not do
Yeah.
a
Keep
manager
Emery.
transfer. I could do both for -4. I'd be willing to uh to make that move. It's not like an outstanding fixture for Bournemouth. However, like home to Wolves is all right. Like so, I think it's a reasonable bet that sets my team up better. And then next week, then I can consider bringing in Cunha then.
Yeah.
And then like pushing that pathway in terms of like fleshing my squad out a little bit. Yeah, captain is Salah. And even if I bring in Dango for Rogers, I'll be captaining Salah.
Still go with Salah. It's a mistake, mate.
What
It's a
what
mistake.
what are your thoughts, mate, on firstly a manager transfer? Do you think I need to do a manager transfer?
I would with one single game. If it's a one single game, I want to be playing for the bonus. As you say, it's not. We're home to Chelsea.
If yeah,
Chelsea injured them in the league, right?
if I had Arsenal home to West Ham, I'd obviously keep
Yeah,
Arteta. That's good.
yeah.
But like, yeah, this is not a surefire
Chelsea are
win.
ahead. Yeah, Chelsea are ahead of them in the league. So as a result, I think it's worth the gamble.
Yeah, and you think rather than pushing in Arteta, for example, I don't know if I can make that work, but would you go for an Arteta, which he's probably the best man? Like they could win 2-1
Yeah,
against West Ham
we're
quite
home to West
easily.
Ham.
Would you get Arteta or would you go to a bonus
Oh,
manager?
genuinely, I'd play for the points.
Would you
I'd
go
play for the.
Arteta?
I'd would. I'd play. No, I'd play. I'd sorry. I'd play the gamble to get more points.
Yeah, agree.
I'd be going for a win. 16 points if they get a win. 8 if they get a draw. Arteta needs to win 2-0 to get. Well, I suppose he'll get 10 because of the clean sheet. But if he wins 2-1, he only gets 8. So I'd take
Exactly.
the
I
gamble.
reckon expected points are slightly higher for these bonus managers this week. I agree. Who are you thinking? I'm guessing you're thinking McKenna probably. I
I'm
know you're not a fan of
thinking.
Leicester, are you?
I would purely because they're playing Brentford and Brentford's away form's poor. So I'd be playing Leicester
Over Ipswich.
over Ipswich because the Tottenham have got a few results under their belt. They're getting some players back. As a result, I'd probably go for Leicester.
Yeah, they've been solid the last 2 games, isn't they? Like so,
Mm.
yeah.
Tottenham have
I'll,
done
I'll play
better.
around. Yeah,
I
I
think
think
they've
I, I
looked
think
better.
I'll be on that. Would you bring in Dango for a hit, or just like play Rogers and just like reassess next week? It's not a move you have to
I feel
make,
like
is it?
no, I think you've taught me to never do hits if it can be helped. So I wouldn't. I'd either leave Emre and then do the transfer, or I'd just do Emre and leave
Yeah.
Rodgers for another week.
Yeah, I reckon if I pushed my team through a solver and an algorithm thing, it'd probably say that's the optimal play, is just to kind of not take the hit.
So you're banging on Dango to score again.
No, spot on. Like, yeah, Roger's going to start and play, and that's 2 points, and then like, yeah, is Dango going to get a return? I wouldn't say he's got more than 50% odds of the return, is it? Right, so yeah, probably.
I wouldn't hit. I wouldn't take it.
And would you start Van der Berg? Van der Berg
The other options, yeah.
Would you play Colwell instead of Van der Berg, or would you play?
No.
No, cool.
I wouldn't. Chelsea are conceding goals. Villa's attacks better than Leicester's. City's attacks better than Leicester's. So yeah, I'd probably play him. And it's not like Canate or Colwill are attacking threats. So I think you've probably got the right defender on the pitch.
You seen Canate's assists though? Nice. got one last week. No,
good lad. Good lad.
Spawn. No, cool. Wise words. Yeah. So Emery to a different manager is probably my route, and then I'll just think, do I move out Rodgers for Dango? Talking out loud, it seems a bit just like forcing it.
Necessary. Yeah. No, I agree. Don't take the hit if you don't need to, Matt. That's what you taught me. So now I'm teaching you.
Yeah.
Your wise words back at you.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean, what would kill me if I'd made that hit and then Dango gets injured, or there's some other things that open, right? So who knows what happens next week?
Rodgers delivers. No, he got a goal and an assist when City went to the ground. So nothing says that he won't score.
Yeah,
it's not like I know he's been
90 minutes, and he plays not 90 minutes, and he got some good stats in Ipswich as well. So Dango is better, but he's not a terrible option. Agree. Would you move like Fernandez to Dango, or just sit and wait?
Not with that game. I'm with you. That Everton. I know Everton are doing better under Moyes. Just takes a penalty, mate. Penalty. Bruno's got a goal. He's got 9 points minimum. Or he takes a free kick. He's on all the set pieces pretty much. So no, I'd leave him in for that game.
He's still had the worst stats the last couple of games, like 0.2 against Spurs, 0.5 against Palace, 0.3 against Fulham, 1.2 against Brighton, 0.6 against Southampton. They're not terrible stats, like even despite his positioning, right? I think being a set piece monster is always helpful. So yeah. Wise words, mate. Wise words. Just that urge when you hate your team and you just know you're going to shake things up in a couple of weeks. You just want to
do it all now.
Being conservative here is probably a little bit better approach.
Yeah, I agree, pal. Mine would probably be a bit boring. You probably can guess what I'm looking at, mate. So I've got 2 free transfers because I sold Bruno last week to bring in Dango. 3.7 in the bank, so a bit of money to play with. In all honesty, what I'm probably going to do is sell Saar. He's been doing nothing for me. His fixtures aren't as good as Bournemouth's. He also doesn't play in game week 29, and Bournemouth do. So I'm probably going to sell Saar and bring in Kluivert or Semenyo. Better form, better fixtures. Game week 29 they play. So I'm probably going to do that and then roll my second. The thing that I was toying with, mate, is I could use that second free transfer, and I could end up with a midfield that contains Dango, Kluivert, and Semenyo. Personally, I think it's overkill. What do you think?
Good point.
Feels a lot, doesn't it? 3 Bournemouth. But they've all been delivering. I look back, I know in the last 5 game weeks, 2 of them have delivered in 4 matches. 1 of them has delivered in 3. So they're sharing the points. I can't. 3 just seems too much. I'd go.
I'm just looking at like 27 and 28.
Yeah. The reason I'm going Kluivert over Semenyo, likely, is number 1, he's on pens, and number 2, when we reviewed them both last week, he also takes some set pieces. He had the better expected goal involvement per 90 as well out of the 2. Probably because of the pens, in all fairness, but that's why
Yeah.
I'd probably swing towards Clivert.
I think you do one.
Yeah, I think one. I think two's pushing it. So I'll probably
Again,
do.
it's forcing it a little bit, and who knows what happens next week and whatnot, and what other options you want to play around with, right?
Exactly that. Exactly that. So I'll probably roll out, and then the team looks. I mean, I'm not made up about double Liverpool defence away at City, but it is what it is. You end up playing that. The rest of them are okay. Gabriel and Robertson both
Yeah,
at home. West Ham and Palace. Midfield, I'll have two Bournemouth midfielders at home to Wolves, which is okay. And then who would you play, mate? So the other concern, or not it's not a concern, but the other thing I'm thinking about is, do I play Rodgers at home to Chelsea, or do I play Delap at home to Tottenham? I've got Rodgers on the pitch in a minute, but I'm leaning towards Delap.
the lap.
Yeah, he's on pens. So if
Yeah,
you get one,
pens and a weaker. But I don't. He's on pens, right? And then is playing a weaker team and probably has better underlying stats. I haven't checked it, but like Rogers isn't great.
yeah, I'll go with I'll probably play Delap, and then last time I benched Rodgers, mate, he got 15 points. So I just need to hope that doesn't happen again. But then you can thank me if it does happen. So at least the one of us a benefit from it. And then long-term strategy, mate. I kind of mentioned before. I'm going to bench Salah. I'm going to bench Isaac because of his double game week. I've got too much money invested in them both as anyway.
How are you going to get Cunha
I,
then?
so with that move, I'm probably going to upgrade Delap. I've got 3.7 million in the bank, so I've got money to use. Delap to Cunha is easy. It does mean I can't get Wood unless I sell Wissa, but that's probably not going to happen.
No, but makes sense.
So I'm probably going to have to go without Wood. But yeah, Delap will go up. And then I'll get Cunha. I'll need a goalkeeper because Becker does blanks in 29. Fabianski has lost his place, so I'm going to need a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
that's it. Sells, Kepa, Sarr. Again, I'll have the money to move Fabianski, which I'd prefer to do, mates, because then the game week after Liverpool play Everton, it'd be quite nice to have Becker on the bench to come in for that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Out of the two, mate, would you prefer Wood or Cunha? I kind of think you're going to answer that Cunha. You've already discussed how much you want him. Yeah, I thought as much. But captain, I'm going to go for Dango. So there you go.
Oh yeah,
I'm going Salah. Very much going Salah. But what are your thoughts? What would you be doing?
Is that going to be your clickbait title for this one?
Why Dave's captain and Otara? Exactly that.
No, you were like
why game week number one Aina owner Dave Saunders is captaining Otara over Salah. There's the video title. It's a bit of a long title, granted.
It's a bold one. Right, you're gonna have to do one. You have to do at least one snippet for that video. I bet that one will perform best. That'll perform best. But yeah, but looking good, mate. And I think Salah to a Bournemouth player is a no-brainer. And then rolling a transfer just for flex for new info next week and coming weeks is good. And I'd probably play Delap over Rodgers.
Yeah, boring though, isn't it? It's boring when it's staring you obviously in the face. Well, there you go. I'll take it. That's what future planning does for me, I guess. I say. Mini league. Quick update here. Nathan stayed top. And he keeps pulling away, and he keeps building his overall rank. So Nathan remains top thanks to slot assistant manager. So that took him home 13 points. Sorry for slot. He had Salah captain, which was plus 40. He also had Trent for 13 and Watkins for 15. Nathan is now the world number 2,640th. Top 3K for Nathan.
Nice.
Not
There's some gaps now, isn't it? Nathan and Andy are pulling and Nathan's pulling away, isn't it? Andy's like got a gap as well.
Aye. Yeah. It's you know what I've realised, mate? Like this is a strong league. Like, there's 83 of us in total. I'm ranked in the top 200k at the minute. I'm 25th. This is a strong league. What have we done to ourselves?
I don't think you or I can take any credit. That's people playing their own game. But yeah, some big scores there. But there's some big scores this game week. Like look at that, 118.
Yeah.
Chris Norwood.
Very good game week.
That's smashing it. But yeah, interesting to see these gaps now. I remember a few weeks ago it was just like literally 10 points between the top 10. Now there's some gaps, right? People are
And unfortunately for me,
run away.
a gap from me to the top 10. I was in it. That 1 week I was in it was the highlight of the season. But we'll
Yeah, you had
see.
that
I
battle with
said
the other Dave Saunders, right?
no, but he is playing as assistant manager chip, so we'll see how I can come back when I play mine. But yeah, I'm in 25th. You're in 48th, mate. So 83 of us in total. We'll see how we get on towards the end of the season. And we'll finish off with Matt versus Dave. We've got some updates from the last couple of game weeks before we do. And it's one each, mate. Game week 24, you took it thanks to Sobersley and Robinson, the Liverpool boys, getting you 13 points, whereas NDIE and Maduka, who didn't have a double, got me 11. So you took one there. And then I got saved. The only saving grace in that entire Liverpool Villa game for me. Tillemans with the goal and 3 bonus, alongside Sobersley getting me 16, whereas Robinson and Rashford for you took you to 12. So it means I keep that 2 point gap. It's 11-9 to me. But the good news for you, Matt, is you get to pick first this game week.
I like it. Doing well. Most our players getting a return, right?
Yeah, not bad at all. I think out of the
Yeah,
8 on the screen, 5 returns. And considering it's under 5% owned, that's not bad.
it's tough. It's tough. Like this week, I was looking at Ødegaard, for example. He's like 5.1% owned, right? There's some um
And when
pretty
you
tough.
can't own them as well, that's a real kicker.
Yeah, spot on, spot on. It's kind of weird as well. It's like kind of niche things where people on podcasts and videos and X talk about players that seems like, but the aggregate ownership is just really, really low. Dango being an example, right?
Yeah.
He's 3.1% or something. I know you can't play him. Like, there's obviously a reason why I was looking at his ownership. But yeah, it's kind of like interesting that there's just players that we talk about all the time that
Yeah.
super low owned, and you'd assume it'd be like 15, 20%. But yeah, I'm first eye this week, mate. So I was looking at the
You are.
fixtures to target, and a couple of teams like were kind of interesting. I mean, well, I might change my mind on the player actually.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Crack
uh,
on.
I'm gonna start with
Listen,
Trossard. I think yeah, that West Ham game at home for Arsenal, I think looks pretty solid. I think Trossard's got as good a chance as anyone to get an attacking return. So
yeah.
Trossard, I'll start with.
Start with Trossard. Well, I imagine he'll be playing up front for a very good team at home against lesser opposition. So it makes absolute
Your
sense. Does that
first
mean
would that been your first pick?
yeah, it's on my list.
Uh,
Absolutely. I'm targeting Arsenal. Unfortunately, you've took him, so I'm gonna have to probably take I don't know how you pronounce it. Nwaneri. Arsenal fans are going to kick off
yeah,
because he's their new star boy. But Nwaneri, 2.8% owned, West Ham at home again. He's doing it. He's doing well. You know, he got a
spot
return
on.
last game week. He'll start, I imagine, because of the injuries. So I'll target the same fixture.
That's spot on.
This tells me if you change your mate, you're not going for Dango.
Well, okay, I've got two options. Right, so I've got Dango, who you can't go,
Okay.
4.1% owned. James Madison, I'm curious, right? So he's got Ipswich away, and he's low key having like a really good season, right?
Yeah.
More points than
His
Semenyo.
ownership.
Yeah, nothing. Like it's like 4%.
Wow. I had him, and he was such a frustrating own.
Yeah, 112 points. That's a quietly good season from an FPL point of view. So he is. Where's he in midfielders? Now, literally, Salah, Palmer, Mbumo, Kluivert, Diaz, then Madison. More
So
points
he's
than
not doing bad.
Gordon, more points than Saka, more points than Son, Semenyo, Fernandez, Bowen, Rogers. Yeah, he's he's ticking along, right?
I think you're talking yourself into something, pal.
Is he going to get minutes though?
Well, he scored last game, right? They won 1-0 against United. He got the goal, did the little shush to
63
Roy
minutes played,
Keane
but
and the
that's it.
dart.
Who would you pick, Dango or Madison?
Well, I can't pick Dango.
You changed your mind in your second one. It's going to be Madison now, is it?
Oh, well, if you don't pick him, I've got an open goal.
No, I reckon I'll go Madison, just to block you. I don't know whether that's some psychology you're playing there, but yeah, I'll go Madison.
That's not a bad pick at all. If I didn't have Dango, I would be looking at him for the fixture. I know what I'm blindsided by Madison. It didn't even come into my thinking. I just assumed he'd be over 5% owned, so I didn't even look at Tottenham.
I just did then
but
because I was thinking big players with low ownership. We mentioned earlier, guy there. Son, I was like, oh, Son's. I know he's like yellow flat, but I was like, oh, he's going to be quite low. And I was like, oh, Madison is ticked along nicely. And
picking
he's
all.
like, yeah, under 5%. So yeah,
No, good
there's
pick.
a few Son.
Good pick. No, is he under 5% as well?
Yeah, he's like 3%.
Nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. Then you're picking for me, and that's on my bad for not looking at Tottenham. I'm between two. I'm between Minter, purely for the fixture, playing Southampton.
Oh God.
Scored twice in his last game. Doesn't feel great. The other one is Kevin De Bruyne, 3.9% owned. Rested against Madrid, but he's playing Liverpool. I think City. I think City are going to be poor, but I think City are going to be up for that game. And Kevin De Bruyne's expected goal involvement per 90 is 0.63. That is decent level. So as much as it pains me to do it, pal, I'm picking a player playing against Liverpool. I'm going to go for De Bruyne.
You sure?
Yeah, it's one of those games, mate. It's you know what? It's the pessimist in me as a Liverpool fan is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, big game player, right? I don't know. Is he? Maybe.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. And you know what? I'd be happy for you to get the point. Make it industrial. Let's make it 11-10. But there you go. So it's Trossard and Madison for you. N1 can't say it. N1 you say it. How's it pronounced?
I can't even say it.
Nwaneri and KDB for me. So big eyes on the Arsenal game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm regretting not going Dango now, but I've made my bed with Madison.
I'll let you change if you want.
Enough faffing around.
Stick with Madison. Stick with Madison. But yeah, that brings us to the end, mate. That brings us down probably a bit longer than anticipated, but we haven't looked at our teams in a while. So nice to do that. Nice to review where we're at. See how we're getting on, and yeah, plan for the next game week and beyond.
It's probably the first week in a while that one of us hasn't given each other a deadline to finish it by, whether it's watching a Liverpool game, going to work, doing something else.
Yeah,
I know you've got your FIFA stuff on, but
EA Pro clubs. But I've been poor lately, so they won't be bothered that I'm not there. They'll put somebody better than me up front, so don't worry about that. But I appreciate your time, pal. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch up with you ahead of game week 27 next week. Is it mid-game week? Let's touch on that whilst we're here, so we can plan efficiently. I'm pretty sure it's a mid-game week, right?
It is. Why is that?
I thought it was. So yeah, we've got game week 21 game week 26 ends on Sunday, 23rd, and then it kicks right in on Tuesday, the 25th. So we'll discuss this offline because nobody really needs to listen to it. But if we can get together on the Monday, we'll both check diaries. But if we can, that'd be cool. If not, we'll see how it all pans out.
All right. Well,
let's discuss this offline.
Yeah, let's do it Monday.
Let's do it Monday. I can make it work. Bye, Spot on, pal. Well, thank you again. Thank you for your time. I'll catch up with you next week, and yeah, best of luck with the assistant manager option.
Thank you, mate, and to you, the listener, thank you for joining. I'll put
you finish. You finish here. Let's switch it up. You sign it off.
It was almost like you open it, yeah. And to you, the listener, always a pleasure. We will catch you next week. Best luck at game week 26, and may your arrows be green.
Well done on remembering that line. Catch you later.